Hey, welcome back everyone to Data Over Coffee, where we take real world data and tech conversations out of the meeting rooms and bring those to you into these casual chats between me and Ramon. So, today, the topic that we are diving in sits at the heart of every modern data analytics, and which is data pipelines and the data cloud. Now, if you've ever wondered how raw data actually comes from the source, gets transformed, and is presented in a very clean, usable insights, then this one is for you. So, in today's podcast, we will be talking about the data pipelines, how they work. Ramon will be giving us insights on the tools, the challenges from his experience, what he does day to day working on data pipelines. So we'll dive into it. And before getting into data pipelines, let's welcome Ramon. Hey Ramon, how are you? How have you been?
Hi Arjun, I've been pretty well, thank you. It has been a nice week. I think summer is about to start, so the weather is starting to get warm here in Auckland. So happy for that. You know that you start to get the summer vibes and also the energy start to change. Have you been feeling that?
Yeah. Nice. That's good. Yeah. It's really good to see some clear days and some sun over the last couple of days because it's been really bad before that. Even I think it was a couple of days back, the weather was really bad. I was in the office, and every time I went out, and it was like, oh, it's still raining, it's still windy, it's still bad. But yeah, it's good to see some sun. Cool. Okay, so
But you missed it. How was your week?
it was good. So funny thing happened this week, which is my laptop sort of broke in the sense that the speakers aren't working. So that's why today I'm using the headphones. And I was about to, I was thinking of getting into a new laptop and buying a new laptop. So I have got one, but I haven't set it up yet, and I haven't started using it. So I think this is the last episode on my old laptop, and in the next one we'll be recording from the new laptop. So exciting for me.
I have a quick question for you as a technology lover. You will go for Mac or you go for Windows?
No, I went for Windows. I just feel like Mac is good. Mac is really good. No hard feelings for that. But I just feel like Windows gives you a little bit more flexibility in the softwares and things you can actually download. There's a lot of restriction on Apple MacBook, and the security because of that is really good. So it's again a pro and a con at the same time. But I feel like Windows, and I've been always a Windows user, so I feel more comfortable using Windows because I know everything, and I am I can start right like this, and Mac will be, if I get into Mac, then that will be a learning curve for me. So I'm not too familiar with Mac, the functionalities, the features. Might take some time. And I think for now, I'll just stick with Windows. Yeah. I've used Apple in mobile, but not in laptops. So, yeah.
Okay, yes. It's a bit hard. For example, Power BI doesn't run in Mac. So
that is see? Exactly.
That's the first stopper.
Yeah.
However, as a creator or creator of content or creator of ideas or software and that sort of stuff, I use Mac, but I still have one server running behind me just to try it out stuff on Windows, so I connect remotely to that server. But that's how I've been playing for the last 10 years or something like that. Mac is my daily one. And I jump into the Windows server when I need to do things that only works in Windows. But it's just, I should say, like, it's no hard feeling, but it's just a matter of how things are working.
Yeah.
But
and plus, sorry, go ahead.
No, just say it.
I was just about to say that the price is also a big factor. So the same features you get pretty easily in Windows at a lower rate. But if you think of Mac, then you probably will be spending a lot of dollars. So,
True,
no,
true.
sorry.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think that, yeah, it's true. But enough about computers. So now let's jump into our main topic, which is the
Yes.
data pipelines. I
Yes.
won't cover much today about data cloud because that it could be a whole episode, but data pipelines is some that I start to think about it when I started my days, because as I mentioned before, I used to be electronic engineer and I used to create devices that send information to a server, and then from there that information gets stuck in a SQL database. For example, normally PHP SQL or PostgreSQL or MySQL, something like a open source database, because when you are sending data to a server, those are the main SQL servers that you will see, Postgre and MySQL if you are working, or PHP. But if you want to work in analytics, then you will start to see like why everyone is using SQL, why everyone is using cloud, is that why we don't just connect directly to the PostgreSQL, or why we don't connect directly to the MySQL, or why we don't connect to the backend of the website to pull the data. And the reason why, there are different reasons, and also it took me a while to understand, because for me it was like, just give me the access to the database and I will be able to read and then pull all the data to create insights. However, I have been learning within the time that having a data analytics server to make this data organized for and available for everyone is firstly more secure, and also you protect the bandwidth of the website. Because can you imagine if you have 10 data analysts, all of them pulling data like 100 megabytes each every hour? Or for example, you set it up something wrong and you actually pull the data every second, and that it will decrement the performance of the main server. So instead of that, there is a concept that is highly used in data called batch loading. I don't know if you hear about that.
No.
Or stream loading, because when you work as a data analyst, you pull the data on a stream, which is really rare. There are certain apps that is really required, but for example, if you're doing reporting, sales reporting, and you would like to understand how the last week performed, you can perfectly using batch loading. Batch loading means that the job that ingests the data runs every night, and in the mornings you have all the data available for the sale from yesterday. All right, so there is just one heavy lifting, pulling the data from the website, for example. That data gets in the data analytics, gets transformed, and then it's available for everyone. All right, that is the difference when you do batching instead of streaming. And streaming is normally related when you have APIs, which is a way to pull data on live from multiple services. However, nowadays the cloud allows you to do more of this. However, when you want to travel in time, it starts to get harder. And this is what I found that is the main use of the data pipelines. Because when you save the data from yesterday, and today you receive the data again from the same invoice, probably that invoice has been assigned to a new salesperson. But to be able to travel in time, data pipeline and data warehouses are the tools that will give you that feature to start to be able to travel in time. However, if you just pull the latest data from the website, you will never see that historical data. You will only see the latest status.
Right.
All right. I don't know if you get the full concept. It's just to comparing between batch and streamline.
Yeah. When I think most of the projects that I've worked on were using the batch import. So what will happen is every night the data will get refreshed in the sense that it'll pick up the latest from prod environment or wherever the source is, and then that will get refreshed. So I think that's what the batch import is. And Stream, like you mentioned, it uses the APIs. The question that I want to ask you here is, like, does it make a big difference for the organizations if they go for Stream or batch import? Like, if they prefer one, what difference does it make for them, and how does it impact the business?
Yeah, so I think that it depends, and always that is why we have those two flavors. And even if you're using other kind of tool, it will give you even more variety of a stream of data. For example, if you're using something like Kafka, it will give you an avalanche of stream data. And Kafka is one of the main tools that is using for data streaming. But the thing, for example, if you're working, you're developing a dashboard that you will be, or a website. For example, let's say you're building a website and you will be monitoring stock trading, all right? And you can go, depending on the view that you would like to have, you could go day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second, and even nowadays you can go millisecond by millisecond.
So
and
real time.
Yes, that it will go. But what is real time? Because real time is already the past. Because if you're importing data from 1 microsecond ago, it's already past. So
correct.
Real time. When we're talking about real time in data, we're speaking about around the milliseconds or in the seconds. However, that is it will require a huge bandwidth and also a lot of computing processing. So if you don't need it, don't use it. So if you can go for a month of batch importing, do it. If you can go for weekly, do it. Or if you can go to daily, do it. Or 4 times a day, do it. Or, for example, even tools like Power BI, it has the features to import the data on streaming. However, I will tell you that I just use it once. Over than hundreds of reports that I have done so far, I just use it once. And actually, thinking about it, it wasn't even required. But because you need a whole infrastructure that will support this constantly data streaming, and most of the time it's not required. So way cheaper just to import the data once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. Because, for example, if you are monitoring the sales from the company, or for example, you have your own Shopify website, you won't be monitoring the sales like every second. It's just too much time to keep an eye on that. So instead of that, you check in the morning, and then you check on the lunchtime, and you check at the end of the day, and that is way enough. And I think that just once a day, I think is the best. That is why I think that if you would like to start with a project, start with the minimal refreshing time that you need. And I think for me, most of the time, I use it daily to review the information in the back. But speaking about the data pipeline itself, we have 2 concepts that you just mentioned. One is the ETL, and the other one is the
ELT. Yeah, correct.
All right. And
so
I have seen a picture of this, that ELT, which is E stands for extract, load, and transform.
Yeah.
This is the way how we've been working for years in data, but now it's the introduction from ELT.
ETL.
Sorry, ETL is the way how we've been working for many years, and now the new way is
ELT.
ELT, which is extract, load,
and transform.
And then transform.
Yeah.
Okay. And the big challenge here is because in the cloud, they say that you pay really little in storage. However, you pay for computing, which means that all the tasks for transforming the data is when you pay.
Yeah.
And so the ETL which is the process that I most use, which is extracts, transform, and load, which means that you pull the data from the website, you do the transformation, and you discard all the columns that you need, all the records that you don't need, and then you save the data in an organized way that anyone from your company can read it and access easily. All right. This is the normal concept that we've been using for many years. But now, what the cloud is advising or is recommending is say like you extract the data, no matter how it is, you just chunk it into the storage, and then you leave it there, and then you can use something called like a Delta Parquet or something like that it will allows you. For example, you receive every day 1 gigabyte of data.
Right.
You put it in your storage, and the next day you receive 1 gigabyte of data again. And the next day you receive 1 gigabyte of data again. But then you can see, oh, how was the data like 10 days ago? And you can travel in time, and you can see how was the batch importing 10 days ago. All right. But then when you do the analysis, then you transform the data.
Correct.
However, I don't like that way.
Yeah.
And this is totally personal, and I see people who doesn't like it either, because just to do an analysis to travel in time, you need to create a big query, and then you transform. And then I think that if you doesn't have much experience with SQL or transformation tools, you will struggle a bit to be able to see the data clearly. However, when someone presents you in a plate tray a beautiful data, it's so much easy. Probably you have seen it, like when the column has the beautiful name that is called customer name. Oh man, it's a gift. Because sometimes they call it CCTR
CC underscore
NM underscore NO, and that make it really hard for us a data analyst, because you need to guess, is this really something like this? And this is the magic for the transformation, because we can pull the data like this is customer underscore name, this is customer underscore number, and then you standardize, you make it clear, you put in the right format. And that means when you do the just extraction and loading into the cloud, you leave the wrong date format, you don't do any transformation.
Correct. Yeah.
So this is one of the biggest challenges between those two ways of doing it. I will keep working for a while to doing ETLs. And when I change of mind, I will let you know.
But I think also for me as well, whenever I've been doing the testing of data, it's easier to test it when I can actually understand what I'm looking at. So a very good example that you gave was the column names and stuff like that. So the transformation is happening before I actually, before that data actually reaches us. And then it makes it easier for people who are not that familiar with the data in the source to actually understand what we are looking at. So from somebody who is not a data analyst or a data engineer, it becomes easier for me to actually say, okay, yes, I understand what I'm seeing. Just because the transformation is already done, just because the text that is used in the column header name is making sense to me. And things like that. Even not just the heading columns or stuff like that, but also things like, formatting of the currency or the date formats. Sometimes date formats are weird. So it becomes really difficult to actually see if it is in the right format or not, or what date it is referring to, if you don't have the knowledge of what the format is in the source, right? So
or even things like having a customer name with capital and lower cases.
Correct. Yeah.
You can clean all them up in the transformation, but however, if you get to the layer of a Power BI, and then you see like symbols on the names, you see lowercase, uppercase, last name, no last name, and that sort of stuff, it make it really hard for the experience for us as a data analyst. Of
Yes.
course, living in a dream world, all the data will become clean, but
Mm,
that is never the case. So
mm,
I think it's the big work that they have the data engineers to make the data clean
mm,
for us and accessible. I
mm,
like the data engineering part, but I
mm.
think that it's really important and connect the business more in a it connect the business more in a way that everyone will understand the data, as you just say. And the
Yeah.
data pipeline, if you want to put it in a picture, because we're not presenting images in this podcast, it's like a thinking in a pipeline from like you're a plumber, okay?
Yeah.
You see the pipeline,
Yeah.
and think that the raw water is coming
Mm,
from one end, all right, and then
yeah.
go through a filter, all right.
Mm,
In the middle of the pipeline, there is a filter for the water that has a
correct.
sand filter or something like that.
Yeah.
So the water come with all the irregularities or all
Dirty
the
water.
dust, dirty
Yeah.
things is come through it. There is a filter in the middle, which is called the transformation stage. Gets
Mm,
transformed, get cleaned, and then at the end you can see the
clean
clean water
water.
coming out, and
Yeah.
then you have the data ready to be saved in a container. So if you want to put a whole picture, you receive the water dirty, you have the filter in the middle, and in
Yeah.
the end you have a container, which could
Mm,
be a bucket or something to store that clean water that
mm,
anyone can access it to it. I think
correct.
that could be a way
And
that I will picture it.
yeah, and this is ETL, extract, transform, load. When we talk about ELT, you get the dirty water in the container, and when
You
you
say,
want to
and
use
you
it,
and also you need many containers
and you
to
need many containers, correct. And when you want to use it, you then put the filter and take whatever you want. So I think yes, that's a really good analogy in picturing if somebody wants to actually understand the concept. There you go. This is what it is. Now talking about the real world scenarios, and you talked about in the living in the dream world, right? We don't have to deal with this. Automation and AI are now becoming like, with the help of AI, automation is now becoming a really good thing for analysts and in IT. How do you think AI and automation will play a role? And where do you think 5 years down the line or 6 years down the line, do you think the data pipelines would be automated in the sense that we won't have to worry about all the challenges that we see today?
I think that AI, the power that is given to us is create more better design filters. If you come back to this idea,
Yeah.
we will still receiving the dirty water all the time. Okay. Probably someone will be working more in a sustainable way and the water comes slightly less dirty, but
Right.
you still have a filter. Back in the time to design that filter, it could take you weeks or months. But with AI, you still need to create a filter. You as a
Right.
human, you need to create a filter, but then it will take you weeks or days to create a depurated filter. So I think it's in the speed that we create the filter is that AI will help us. However, I don't see a tool yet that it will guess how I would like to see the data. We still need to tell and use our brain as architects to say, I think the data will need to go in this way. I
Okay.
think that the first name needs to go with capital, and the first name needs to go with capital, and the middle name needs to go with the first initial and then a dot. All right, those kind of things
Okay.
is
Yeah.
something that you still need to tell to the AI what color or which kind of filter you would like to put in the filter. You would like to put a sand filter, you would like to put a paper filter. Those kind of things is something that we need to still work it out. And the other thing that is a lot of space for us still are the kind of questions that we need to ask to this
Right.
clean water, because there will be different way to consume it, but we need to put it in a simple way that everyone will like to, as you say, when the data is well structured, you want to consume it. But if you just using AI tools nowadays to transform the data, probably you will end up with columns named that are not meaningful for you.
AI will be helpful for us to sort of speed up the process, but eventually we will have to actually take that first step in telling the AI, what is our requirements and what we want in order for the output to be as per our expectation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that AI,
Mm.
the robots, how we explain that it is just robots or
Yeah.
just extension of our hands to do more, but we need to be behind, and we will
Correct.
still needs to be behind. And if you think that you buy a robot that can do everything, it's
Yeah.
because someone thought that this is the thing that you will need. It was
Correct.
someone behind of that programming of that robot that it can do everything. And you say, "Oh, this is Mike. The robot can do anything," but someone thought in the way how the robot should answer to your questions. So that is the thing, is like we need to be able to create systems, and what will be the mindset or the brains behind of the robots. I
Yeah.
would like to have a robot for everything, but I would like to train the robots to do what I want with data.
Yeah.
And if I can sit here and the robots can do everything, that would be great. But you need to train what you want to create, because finally there will be an extension of you. So if you would like to make, a curry that your mom used to make, you
Yeah.
would like to taste in the same way how your mom used to cook it. So
Exactly.
it is important for you to teach it in the way, because
Yeah.
even though if they come from another area from India, you don't want that taste. You want the taste from your mom, and each robot, it will need to
Yeah.
make that taste. I think I'll go a bit out of topic, but the thing is like
Yeah.
this is the power that we need to get within the AI, and this is totally applicable with data. The data
Correct.
pipeline that I will create, it needs to be different than your one, because there are different needs and
Right.
different visions. So
Yeah.
this is the power that I see.
Now talking about robots, actually, we just got our. We were planning to get a robot vacuum cleaner for a while now, and we just got a robot vacuum. We just ordered a robot vacuum cleaner yesterday, so it should arrive maybe in a couple of days. Let's see, but that is what it is, right? So it is it. I want it to be an extension of myself, so it does things that I used to do, so I can save my time and I can allocate those tasks to the robot. But having said that, every house is different, everyone's needs are different, so your house might be different, layout might be different than my house, so I need to tell the robot about my house's layout and what I need to do, or what I need it to do. So somebody did design the robot to do everything in terms of cleaning and mopping and whatnot, but I still need to teach the robot, this is what my house looks like, this is how you'll do. So yes, 100% correct, everybody's needs are different, so the
Every
AI tools,
business is different.
exactly, every business is different, so AI tools are there, they know what to do, but as humans we still need to steer the ship and let the AI tools know the context of our requirements so that they can perform effectively.
I think, just to closing with the AI for data pipelines, I
Hmm.
think that AI, it will become better and better in the way how it mimic our behaviors,
Yeah.
and especially the way how it will transform the data. But at the moment, there's still some work left, and
Hmm.
so we just need to still doing a lot of programming and heavy lifting so far. Even
Right.
though there are tools like they are really graphical that you can transform the data, doesn't give you all the features, and you ended up with 100 boxes. So there's still opportunity for there if you're a developer, so you want to create a tool. It's a great opportunity for you to work on that. And speaking about the medal that you have behind you. This is exactly the thing that I would like to cover now. You know, can you see the medal
the
behind you? What is the
Yes,
medal?
I
What is that medal about?
I just got it in one of the office meetings, one of the office events
Okay.
that we had in our during my initial year. So there were some silly games and stuff like that. Just
But
so nothing
okay.
too. I haven't achieved much. It's just something that's sitting there.
Man,
But
you have
yes.
achieved a lot. But the thing I want to complete with this idea is to there is a concept that I use when I introduce data pipelines into business. Is because it's called the Medallion standard.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
And for
bronze, the
deep
silver, the gold.
exactly.
Yeah.
There are different people and different organizations and different frameworks that I presented in a different way. And in the way that I presented is this.
Hmm.
We want to get from here to here as soon as possible, from point A to B as soon as possible.
Yeah.
However, we want to take all the shortcuts possible to get into there.
Hmm.
But the way how I present it is that we need to start from bronze into gold. And that needs to be progressively, and
Right.
then take everyone on board to be able to progress into gold. So the bronze means we pull the data from an Excel sheet.
Mhm.
We just pull the data. I teach everyone how you pull the data. You pull the data within an API, you pull the data from Excel, you pull the data from SharePoint, you pull the data from anywhere. And then we store that information. And then we use it into analytics tool like Excel, Power BI, Google Locker, or whatever any tool that you need. And this is the basic form, all right? And when you are familiar with this, then we jump into silver, which means that we start to do certain transformation
Right.
that it will make much easy for everyone to access from their analytics tools, all right? And lastly, when we have something like really more mature, and it can take you a few months to get there, we ended up with data products, all right? Data products is the gold standard, and then you will be able to find this table is the customer name, and everyone in the office will consume it, all right?
Right.
This is a really curated form, and if you double click in this data product, you will be able to see how often it gets updated, what is the sources, and so on and so forth. However, if you just want to jump directly into the gold standard, it can take you months, and it can take you a lot of effort to understand how things work. And the thing that you will see that after a year of working, you ended up with 2 data products that doesn't fulfill anyone. And so I want everyone to start from the bronze. Probably they already been playing with the bronze, but then jump into the silver. But because if you see a whole project for an organization to create the data pipelines, and if you want to go directly to the gold standard without testing the connection, for example, you will end up trying to create a gold product. However, the firewalls are blocked. You cannot see that failure because if you go for the first step, just pulling the data, then you will troubleshoot everything. And when you ended up with the gold, the communication, it won't be a problem. So I would recommend everyone who would like to jump into data pipelines, depending of the size of your organization, doing these 3 steps, even though that it could be way faster because depending of the amount of data that you're processing. But if you want to start with a new project, now we would like to pull the data from marketing. So start sequentially until you can get to the end product. But start to show insights from the bronze, because in that way you can leverage more funding to get into the goal. Because if you work 3 months in a project and nobody see what it could be the results, you can lose even funding and engagement with your stakeholders. So that is the importance to go through those 3 steps. And this is what I want to comment it out with the Medallion standards. And I think it's one of the best approach when you start with data pipelines.
Yeah, that's a really good approach to actually simplify the whole process. And if you know, yeah, break it down into three: bronze, silver, gold. Work on one, uh, and get familiar on the bronze before you actually move into silver, which is the transformation. So bronze deals with extraction, silver deals with transformation, and then gold deals with load or presenting your data in a way where others can consume it. And that's a really good approach to get yourself familiar with the concept of data pipeline. Speaking of that, when, as a data analyst or as a data engineer, when you're building a data pipeline, what is the most common challenge that you face or encounter? Would you like to share about that? And how do you overcome it?
I think one of the first challenges that you face is networking issues. As a data engineer, one of the first challenges you will face are connections issues. For example, you work in a company and you want to pull data from an API from another company, from a third party, and then you will find there are certain firewall rules designed by the cybersecurity team or the IT team that doesn't allow you to connect to the data. All right. Then, okay, they opened for you this port, or the port was always open, and then you are able now to pull the data. But when you start to hit certain threshold, the connection gets disconnected because the firewall think that you are downloading something that you never say to anybody. And so, like, for example, you are pulling data from 1 gigabyte and they can be blocked because they say this is unsecure, something is going on here, and they block you off. So the first thing and the first challenge is to assess the networking and tell to the cybersecurity guys that you will be using this gateway to pull this data from this trusted third party. And then probably I'm estimating like between 2 and 5 gigabyte of data pulling every day. All right. So that it could be a good approach. Firstly, ensure that your networking is open and do the requests that you need to do. Especially in big corporates, it can take even weeks. And it's really frustrating because you just want to pull the data, but you need to wait. That is one of the biggest challenges that I see.
So it's more of the IT restrictions and the security policies of the organization, which becomes a major challenge in data pipeline building.
That is in the first stage from where you will pull the data. All right. Then the second stage is when you receive the data. The data comes from in so many different sources and in so many different formats that everyone chooses something different. I think the standard of APIs, it brings something really good using JSON format. Have you heard about JSON? Yeah, which is JavaScript, something else. I don't remember the whole.
I don't know. I don't know the full.
Don't worry about it. It's just in the way how you receive the data, but you want to see it into a sort of like a table, because as a human working with Excel for a while, you want to see everything as a table. But when you pull this data from all the JSON features, you need to transform it. And then when you transform it in a paginated way, you will see that the data doesn't come as you think they should come. And that is, they start with the best challenges, and then you need to engage with the vendor or the third party of the software manufacturer, and then engage with them to say like what this actually means and how actually you get this data. If you are buying software from a trusted and well-organized organization, there's something called a Swagger. Swagger is a way how the data will be pulled from the API. All right. Then you have different functions like a post, get, put. And Swagger, for example, if you're buying data from LinkedIn or if you're buying data from another trusted third party, they will have a website like this, and then it will tell you how the data will come structured, which is really good. However, if you are buying just the data from a small business who create this and then probably you won't have this luxury. But this is another challenge that I have, is when you manage to receive the data comes so in an organized ways that it's really hard to understand and read. That is the second challenge. And the way how I tackle this is to engage with the third-party developers or go to the Swagger website. Okay.
Right.
And lastly, the last part that I see the most challenging for me when you create data pipelines is to, especially when you go to cloud, is the billing.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
It's so funny because when the cloud started a few years back, all the providers say, man, it will just take you a few cents to pull the data from my places. But you ended up to doing like, they just say like, pull everything into storage. And then you start to create and create and create and create and create. And there are so many things that you're not using anymore, but you forgot to switch it off. And
and you're still paying for it.
And that is 50 cents here, $1 there, $3 there, $5 there. And then you ended up with an invoice of hundreds and thousands of dollars each month. And that is the challenging part, because it's like, what you switch it off now to be able to reduce the billing. However, even though with the data lineage, you are able to see like who is using this, who is using what, but it's still not totally the period. So I think that the biggest challenge on when you create data pipelines is to put the right name on it and put it who is consuming it. And you can put all this information when you create the data pipeline. But if you're using cloud, please you do this, because in that way you can see if it's something that needs to keep running. And as I mentioned to you before, is to do the least refresh that you need. For example, if you just need it one day, once a day, do it. Especially in cloud, because if you want to do it 100 times a day, you pay for each time that it runs, because you pay for compute. And so it becomes like the billing start to increase, and you don't want that. And also, if the storage, you can storage too much rubbish that you don't need. And so, and even for there was a article some time ago that I read from the Harvard Business Review. It was about of the rubbish that we've been creating in data centers. So we think that the cloud is somewhere, but actually, as are you seen those memes, the cloud is just someone else's computer. But actually, the amount of storage that we have is spread. Like, could you tell me how much data for your own you have created so far since you born until you will die? It will be petabytes that probably you will never want them deleted. Someone needs to pay for that. I mean, it's not free. All right. Somehow Dropbox gets funded somehow, and someone pay it. And then we just want to store. But I think it's really important to be a bit more conscious, because to be able to have a more sustainable future, we'll need to be more conscious of the data that we store, and also will protect us to pay a really good billing system. And I think that is more a metaphorical way, but I just want to say, like, it's really important, and being cautious in the data that you store. Just keep it where you need it, and then think about it in the simplicity how you can bring it to just the data that you need. I don't know if you have any question. I just have three takeaways here. First of all, is that pipelines doesn't need to be scared. Keep picturing this pipeline with the filter in the middle and the bucket at the end. That I will give you the nice starting point. Automation is key. Someone needs to pull electricity to that filter to be able to create this transformation, and start from the small. Okay, this is always my thought. Don't go right away to the whole API transformation. Start from one table, one set, one column, and then start to increasingly progress in your development. Because if you want to go directly to the end, you just will miss the point. So Start from the small. That will be my key takeaways. And hope you guys, all our listeners, been able to understand a little bit more about data pipelines. It's easy, simple, and actually instead of to be something that complex our life, it will make it much easier. This is my takeaways.
Thank you, Ramon. Thanks for the amazing session. It was great learning experience for me personally. As a tester, I have always seen or tried to break the data pipelines, if I can say that, because that is the job of a tester, to break things. But yeah, I have always tried to be on the other side of the table when it comes to data pipelines. So when my role comes, I am basically just trying to see if the source matches the destination, if the formatting is correct in the tables that I'm looking at, or if the report is correct and matches the source. It is good to see the other perspective from a developer's point of view, what data pipeline actually looks like, what are the challenges in developing a data pipeline or maintaining a data pipeline, and how to actually approach building one, which is really good insight. Thank you for that. And with that, we close today's episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening to our episode, and we will see you in the next one.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Arjun, for hosting, listening, and just talk and the opportunity to be here, learning. This is what we have. Even for me to put in this concepts all together, help me to reminder. And this is a great experience. Thank you for everyone for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.